get through the preliminaries. I'll bring the first two items that are block votes to the floor, and then we'll go through the paper after that. Okay?
Are we live streaming tonight, Ray?
Beg your pardon?
Are we live streaming?
Yes, we will be.
Thank you.
We'll let you know, Ray.
No, you keep cutting out.
You're fine, Marie.
You're fine, Marie.
You keep cutting out, right?
I'm not speaking.
Didn't hear a word of any of that.
No one's speaking, Marie.
I didn't hear a word of any of that.
I think Marie's having difficulty with her connection or a Wi-Fi. She's laggy at my end.
Very blurry. I didn't hear a word of any of that.
Marie, can you hear me now?
Can the host manage the microphone from your end? Can you mute and unmute?
We're on.
Yes or no?
Yes,
Ready
we
to
can.
start? Ready to start? Are we ready to start?
Right. Yeah. I'm starting off.
Yeah, it's very blurry.
Okay. Okay, welcome, councillors.
Clear.
I would like to acknowledge
Can I
the
mute and unmute?
traditional custodians of this land on which we are here today, the Wiradjuri people, and pay my respects to their elders, both past, present and emerging. I inform all those in attendance that the meeting will be webcast, and those in attendance should refrain from making any defamatory statements concerning any person, councillor or employee, and refrain from discussing those matters subject to closed council proceedings as indicated in clause 14.1 of the Code of Meeting Practice. As far as present, all councillors are present. Declarations of interest. I have one declaration of interest for myself, council-owned golf course, it's a non-pecuniary interest. I will be leaving the meeting, and it will be chaired by Councillor Ring in my absence, because I am a member and I am also a golfer, so I will be refraining from the meeting. Any other declarations of interest? Confirmations of minutes, extraordinary meeting of council, 6th of April, postponed from the 23rd of March.
Happy to move.
Have it a second.
Second.
Moved Councillor McAndrew, seconded Councillor Goodwin.
Smith.
Well, I've got Councillor Goodwin, sorry, Councillor Smith.
That's all right.
Commemorations and announcements.
Yes,
I'm
I would
voting
have
no
one,
on the
thank
minutes. Stephen
Hang
Lewis.
on, we haven't. The motion hasn't been put, Mayor.
Oh, sorry. You are certainly right. Confirmation of minutes was moved Councillor McAndrew, seconded Councillor Goodwin. Those in favour? Councillor.
I'm voting no.
You're voting no. Councillor Leslie is voting no. And Councillor Statesman can't hear us by the parent, apparently.
No, I can hear you. I voted with that.
Oh, did you? Oh, sorry.
What was it?
Who was that?
Councillor Leslie against. Okay, commemorations and announcements.
I have one.
Go ahead.
Yes, it was a great loss to our local community on the weekend with the very saddened death of Patricia Walsh, better known as Pat Walsh. She was a former foundation member of the Garden Club in Lithgow. She was renowned for her beautiful gardens. She was a great family person and has come from a very, very well-established Portland family. Her death has been a very hard situation for their family, and she has spent the last year or so in Tabulum Cottages. But a great lady for the community and one that will be really missed.
Thank you, Councillor.
Yeah, Mayor Thompson, I'd like to, if I may, acknowledge the work that was done by Rich Evans and the Ironfest Committee to host the first ever virtual Ironfest festival online over the weekend, as well as They had online markets. It keeps the dream of Ironfest alive for a lot of people, and I've been led to believe that they had people logging in from around the world as well as all around Australia. So congratulations to them. Thank you.
Oh, well done, yes.
I got a couple, Mr. Mayor Thompson.
Yes, Councillor Goodsall.
I'd just like to send our condolences from all councillors to the family of Les Drury. Les was a long-term pool attendant at Lithgow Pool, and I'd just like to send my condolences to his family. And also, today we heard the news that a council employee, Mr. Sam Johnson, he lost his wife, Anita, and they've got 2 small children. So I'd like to acknowledge the loss of Anita Johnson as well.
Thank you, Councillor Goodsall.
I do have another one, Mayor Thompson.
Yep.
Yes, being Anzac Day on Saturday, I think if we followed the Talk About Town and the rulings that have come over talkback shows, it would be lovely to know that we are still recognising our people involved with Anzac Day, the people that have had friends that have had deaths in their family, and pay respect. And it's something that's been a challenge to lots of communities to put a flag outside your home and stand in your footpath in your driveway at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. I guess if it's not 6 a.m. for some elderly people, it would be lovely to see a lot of people out in their driveways at 11 a.m. It's something that's been going on now through Bathurst and Orange and Sydney, and it would be nice for Lithgow residents to know there is an opportunity, even if it is in their own front yard, to go out and pay their respects. And the bugle's going to be played apparently over 2LT at 11 a.m. and 6 o'clock.
Yes, Councillor Statham. I was also going to make an announcement re-Anzac Day myself, as far as we will be putting out media releases to just say to exactly the type of thing that you have just announced. I'd also like to congratulate Councillor Smith on organising councillors to go to the various villages of Wallerawang, Portland, and the villages to lay reefs. I know that I'd already made arrangements to lay a reef at dawn myself, and also at 11 o'clock. So here at Lithgow. So to all those councillors that are going out to put reefs at the various places on Saturday, congratulations to Councillor Smith for organising it.
Yes, well done.
Any others? Okay, we shall move on. And we'll bring those 2 items forward. Item 9.41 and 10.1. It is investment report and youth council minutes. There's no
I'll
comment.
move that way.
I'll move that way, Councillor Statham. Seconder.
I'll second.
Councillor Ring. Is there any against? Okay, I declare those 2 items passed. Resolution of council. Notice of motion, Councillor McAndrew.
I know we're tight for time, so I'm only.
Can I just get a
I'm
second?
happy to second it.
Councillor Ring, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I know we're tight for time, so I'm just going to concentrate on some part. You've got the notice of motion in front of you. As the commentary gives some background, I want to touch on quickly on parts of that. Not only are we experiencing our largest health crisis in our history, we're experiencing the employment crisis not seen since the Great Depression. And local government, our council in particular, will not be immune from this. And I want to just touch on some points that I dealt with, mainly with Mr. Gurney, to get a bit of an idea of what the future will hold for us as far as our finances are concerned. There's no doubt that these restrictions are going to be in place for some time. And ultimately, we, like all other organisations or other businesses, will not be immune from that. So going through some of the financial constraints, we will start to meet a reduction in income from closed facilities, including sporting fields, halls, libraries, aquatic centre, S-Bank House, etc., waiving overdue rates, interest and commercial rent reductions. There is also worsening investment income with record low interest rates. Mr. Gurney has indicated to me that he expects that the financial impact of lost 2019-20 revenue will be in the tens of thousands of dollars. Whilst I agree entirely with the measures put in place to protect us all and support our employees and community, it will all mean a hit on our bottom line. And I need now to comment on our deficit, and it relates more to point 4 of my recommendation, which I will talk to in a moment. We currently carry a deficit, and under the current crisis, I cannot see that improving, certainly not short term. In relation to my recommendation, council right to our local, part 1, council right to our local, state and federal members, Paul Toole and Andrew G, requesting their support for councils to receive a portion of the New South Wales and federal government stimulus packages. These are extremely important to us. As I said, I think the council seems to have been forgotten in this current crisis that we face. We're an employer, and of course we undertake essential duties for our community. And in my view, we have a strong argument to say that some of those federal and state stimulus packages must be given to, a portion of that must be given to councils to make sure we get through this current crisis as well. Number 2, council right to our local federal member Andrew G, requesting his support for local councils to be eligible for the JobKeeper program. Now that's a federal program, nothing to do with the state. Although that JobKeeper program was dealt with recently, I'm advised and I understand the PM, the Prime Minister, can add to that JobKeeper program and pull other organisations in. It's applicable for all other employees, but not applicable to us. I find that as a major anomaly. And number 3, a copy of both of those letters/emails be also sent to Blacktown City Council, Westrock and local government New South Wales. Blacktown City Council is the largest council in New South Wales, one of the largest councils in Australia. If they're struggling with some of their finances, you can only bet that some of the smaller councils like ourselves will struggle as we move forward. And I understand local government New South Wales also agitating and lobbying for the JobKeeper program and the stimulus packages. So we need to let them know what we're doing. And fourthly, the last one, it relates to the comment I made earlier about deficit. Currently, council remains under the reporting requirements to the Office of Local Government in relation to the Fit for the Future process, and that was mainly aimed at our deficit we've been running for some years. I honestly, in the current circumstances, see that that's a crazy requirement. It's just more work for our staff. Under the current circumstances, I see that should be either suspended or cancelled, and I put that in as a fourth part of my recommendation. I just close, Mayor, on saying that a lot of this notice of motion is about protecting our organisation, council, and protecting our employees. We are not only councillors representing our residents and ratepayers, but once elected to that position, we represent this council, and we also represent and are entitled to look after our employees. This is a crisis we've never seen before, and as far as I'm concerned, we haven't been given a fair crack of the whip in relation to support from either state or federal governments at this time, and that's not only my view. And I think that if this nom can be passed, we will make our feelings known.
Thanks, Councillor McAndrew. Councillor Ring.
I'll be very brief. I fully support the notice of motion. I think it's well written and thought out, and I believe it's to our advantage to pursue it. That's it.
Any other councillors? Councillor Coleman.
I support point 1 of the recommendation. I think it's very important that we lobby for stimulus packages. Council provides essential services. I mean, in some councils, such as Dubbo, they support an airport. So it's really important that we follow that up. I understand the point in regards to JobKeeper program, but I do want to touch on that about the Splinters Award, which we've signed up for, which is a great thing for management to do. I mean, it was negotiated between 3 unions. It was negotiated with council and the Minister for Local Government. So there is that award, and the union and council should be commended on signing up to that. I think that a copy of this letter should go further than what you're stating. I think it should go as far as wide as we can. I think we, as local government, we need to support local government further than just Blacktown City Council and Westrock. I think a media release needs to come out about this once it's passed. I mean, we need to lead the way and demonstrate that we are protecting council and the employees.
Point 3 also says that it is supported, it is going to local government New South Wales.
Well, that's great, because I think it's, as long as it's spread further and wider, we should be leading the front on this. That's all I wanted to say.
Any other?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Yes, Councillor Leslie.
I don't have a problem with the recommendation as such. What I have a problem with is the procedure and the way it's come about. I think it's quite sad, really, that because at our last meeting, we were told we didn't need formal communications in relation to the COVID-19. I expected, therefore, that we would get regular updates, probably as mayoral minutes, but at least as general manager reports on how COVID-19 was affecting our council operations. But we didn't even get a report on the operations at the tip or of the Splinters Award. As far as councillors are concerned, we're not getting information at all. And clearly all councils and all councillors should be concerned about the way local government has been sidelined. In the commentary of this notice of motion, it says that Councillor McAndrew has discussed this with the General Manager. Oh, by the way, where is the General Manager? Is he an apology for tonight?
The General Manager's on. He's not an apology. He's there somewhere. General Manager.
I'm here, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. But I was surprised we didn't get a General Manager report on this. I'm surprised we didn't get a full report of all the issues that have come up over the last fortnight presented to this meeting. And I believe this particular notice of motion should have been a mayoral minute. Now, I congratulate Councillor McAndrew for taking up the slack there. But nonetheless, I can only assume that stimulus packages and job seeker programs aren't considered important as far as the council administration is concerned. It disappoints me. I just think that had it been a mayoral minute, it carries that much more weight. It carries the weight of the council's senior councillor, i.e. you, Mr. Mayor, who puts it forward. And that has greater weight, as far as I'm concerned, once it gets to the state member and the federal member. And I would like to see that in future, that we get a regular General Manager's report on issues that have arisen since this meeting, so that we can discuss it in a proper, formal manner, and not just relying on the goodwill and the ability of councillors to take it forward. Because remember, a notice of motion is by its very nature already 8 or 9 days out of date. It has to be put in that much before a council meeting. But a mayoral minute and a General Manager's report can be much more up to date. That's all I wish to say.
Thanks, Councillor Leslie. You've said a fair bit. Councillor McAndrew, right to reply?
Oh, I've got something, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Goodsall.
Yeah, I'm fully support this. Thank you to Councillor McAndrew for bringing this up and raising it now. I hope, like Councillor Coleman said, it'll go far and wide, and all councils will be asking the same questions. We have been left behind, and I hope that some movement happens after this.
Thank you, Councillor Goodsall. Councillor McAndrew, right to reply?
Yes, very briefly, Mayor, just in response to comments, I thank the councillors for their support. In relation to Councillor Coleman, I do note that it will be going to Local Government New South Wales, and you made that point, Mayor. I'd have no problem with the 5th point saying it gets a media release as well. I certainly would have no problem with media release. I think that will also give some comfort to our employees as well. In relation to the comments by Councillor Leslie, I wanted to raise this at the last meeting, Mayor, in urgent business, but as everyone knows, we ran out of time. And I see that whether I raised it or whether it was a mayoral minute, it's still important to me. And if it has the support of councillors, it's important to council. The only discussions I had with the General Manager was to try and get some idea of some of the background. And the only issue I asked him was that I couldn't work out why we were performing essential services and we weren't deemed as an essential industry. But that's sadly, that's the way it is. But as coming back to the other, I'd have no point if there's a 5th dot point added to the recommendation. if that's the wish of councillors, that a media release goes out as well saying what we're doing.
Yes, and we continuously get emails from local government New South Wales to this effect as well, and they're supporting it all the way through as well. Okay, I shall put that then.
I'm happy to move.
Against? Is there anybody against? No. Carried unanimous.
No, sorry, Mayor, are we including that 5th point? Because
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to include that.
so is,
That's
I'm
endorsement.
assuming the seconder.
Yeah, I'm happy to include it, so I've no problem with that.
I'm making sure that we follow procedure. I get a bit confused if we don't.
Point 5, council issue a media release to inform the community of what council is doing
Yeah.
regarding COVID-19.
Will that include the tip?
No.
No.
No, we're sticking. Look, we're sticking to the. Let's be proper and appropriate. This is a nom about the COVID-19 issue.
And council employees, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we move to staff reports, general manager's report.
Have we put, hang on, Mayor, have you put that? Sorry, did we?
Oh, yeah.
There was nobody against.
Yeah, that's right.
With
Okay,
the 5th point. Yep. It was unanimous.
right, great. Just making sure.
Righto, staff reports, general manager's report, delegation of mayor and deputy mayor.
I have an amendment. I'd like to move this with an amendment.
The recommendation, or do you want to just change the recommendation, councillor Coleman?
I'd like to move 1 and 2, but I've got an amendment number 3.
Well, another point.
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay.
Trinity, you've got it?
Yep,
Okay. So did you want to read it or will I?
that's yours.
Okay. Hang on. It's hard using your iPad and bear with me. Sorry, councillors.
Would you like me to do it for you?
No, let's hear Cass.
No,
So Councillor
I've got
Coleman.
a second iPad. It's all good. Point 3 is until the federal government relaxes the social distancing rules, comma, Lithgow City Council meet fortnightly. Full stop. So,
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Move councillor Coleman with point 3. That in the, until the relaxation of the COVID-19 rules, that council meets fortnightly.
yes, that's my amendment.
Could I just question, Mayor, whether that flows as a result of the report or whether it's another matter? Do I get some advice from either the GM or the acting GM or whoever will give the advice tonight?
Yep. Is that you? Well,
Yes, I can. It probably would be better if that was put in urgent matters, urgent.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
All right. This seems an appropriate time, Mr. Mayor, to discuss it. It's related.
It's only an amendment.
look,
An amendment. It's related directly to the council meeting.
It's seconded. It can certainly be debated, but it also can be overruled and go to urgent business. So, councillor Collins, do you want to speak to it?
Yes, please. We might as well deal with it now, Mayor. We might not get to urgent business. The reason for my amendment is I support and stand up for democracy. The community expects us to meet and make representation and decisions on their behalf. The Prime Minister is now talking about recalling Parliament to ensure checks and balances are put into place. I recently received representation as late as 6:30 p.m. tonight. Mr. Newcomb, who is well known to everybody, has contacted me and wants me to follow up on something. I won't bring it up here because it's not appropriate, but even as late as tonight, I'm getting representation. The community expects us to represent them and meet accordingly and make decisions.
Councillor Leslie?
Yes, I think that's meeting fortnightly is a good idea. We're meeting on the 20th of April. I'm not sure why we're meeting on the third Monday of of April instead of the 4th. There was something about Easter, but Easter was caused a fortnight ago. And therefore, the next council meeting is 5 weeks away. And there's a lot of things can happen in that time. And I believe that to meet fortnightly, it's only a 2-hour meeting. It's a maximum of a 2-hour meeting. It's not a great imposition on councillors, but it keeps the council laws and it keeps the community fully up to date with issues that are available. And it also ensures that, as Councillor Coleman just mentioned, to anyone who's making representations.
It's Councillor Smith, Mayor.
Yep.
I'm happy for it to proceed like that at this time, but if the Prime
Mr. Mayor, the motion actually has a sunset clause written.
Councillor Leslie, Councillor Leslie, you've had your break. Yep. Anybody else like to speak? Councillor Goodwin. Oh, sorry, Councillor Statham.
Yes, I agree with Councillor Smith. I think meeting 2 weekly is an excellent idea at the moment to keep on top of the priority. Obviously, there's a lot of priorities coming forward at council at all times, and I think we need to meet regularly. However, I do think if the laws are just, you know, we've got to keep within the laws, and if the laws do change in the near future, we go back to the ordinary meeting of council once a month.
Yeah. Look, we are in unprecedented times, and normally I would think that this point 3 would not fit in with this particular motion, but because we are, it needs to be resolved at some stage exactly how often we do meet and when we meet. So I'm taking point 3 that we can discuss it under these. So is there anybody else that'd like to?
Mayor, I'd just like to add, it's Councillor Smith again, sorry to interrupt. I'd just like to make sure my point 4.
Councillor Smith, you've already spoken.
Sorry, sir.
Mayor, I'd like to speak if I could.
Yes, Councillor McAndrew.
Yeah, look, I would have liked the opportunity to discuss this issue on its own. I've said time and time again, it's not just a matter, under these current circumstances, it's not just a matter about how many meetings we should have, 1 a week, 2 a week, 3 a week, or 1 a month, or 2 a month. It's about the duration of it, and it's about the agenda. Whilst ever we're restricted to 2 hours, the agenda has to be restricted. It's no good having a meeting a fortnight and not being able to get through the business paper and having to revisit matters because we've run out of time. So it's more than just the frequency of meetings. It's what form the agenda takes.
Exactly, yeah. Anybody else? Councillor Goodwin?
Some of us, or myself, work shift work, and for all the meetings during the year have put in time to have off for the meetings. If we go to 2 weeks, I certainly won't be able to make every meeting.
This isn't my internet. My internet, the internet on this iPad's lagging. It's not my internet, it's council.
Not from me. I'm hearing everybody playing, and I'm hearing them all.
So because it's not my internet, because I'm connecting to council. Sorry, because I missed all of Councillor Goodwin's commentary. I just saw your mouth, but I didn't see what you said. Sorry.
Did anybody else miss Councillor Goodwin?
No.
No.
Let me
Just
repeat,
just
Mayor.
here. Okay.
It must be your end, Councillor Coleman.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Anybody else? No. Nobody else wants to speak.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mayor
Councillor-
Thompson.
Sorry, Councillor Ring.
You've muted yourself.
You just muted.
Yeah, I've got it working again. It's all good.
Right.
Look,
Yep.
I'm not going to support this. I believe that if we need extra meetings, be it 1 a week or every fortnight, they can be called as extraordinary meetings. Councillor McAndrew's right. We need to limit not only what is in the papers, but as councillors, we also need to probably cut back from 5 minutes down to a 3-minute speech and embrace more vigorously block voting. It's not about, this is not democracy. We're running a business. In terms of representations from the community, if I get representations, I can pick the phone up and talk to the general manager or any senior staff member and get a resolution. I don't need to do it in an open council meeting. It's not about grandstanding, it's about getting resolution for the public, and that doesn't need to be done in a council meeting. I don't want to disadvantage councillors from participating in what they've been elected to do. Going fortnightly on a fixed schedule would impact adversely on Councillor Goodwin. I would rather a situation where we organise meetings that allows all councillors to attend. be that once a week, once a fortnight, but as extraordinary meetings called when we know we can get everyone available. Thank you.
I have
Mr.
not
Mayor,
reply,
it's
Mayor.
Graham. If I could just provide a comment to council, given that Councillor Goodwin has now indicated that if you move down this path, he won't be able to attend council meetings. I think council needs to be very careful about constructing a schedule that will eliminate one councillor from attending, particularly where you've got an alternative method that involves, or at least allows, all councillors to attend.
Can I have right to reply, Mayor, please?
And
The agenda could be shortened. You could speak for 4 minutes instead of 5. The replier in return could do only 3 minutes or 2 minutes. Fortnightly is only a suggestion. It could be 2 hours on a Monday or 2 hours on a Tuesday. Running a business, yes, we are running a business, but we're elected by the residents and the ratepayers to represent them and do the job that they want us to do. That's all I need to say.
okay, I shall put it then. Those in favour of the recommendation with the third point.
A third or fourth point I understood with Councillor Smith.
What? Oh, Councillor Smith, sorry, there was a fourth point.
Can I have that relayed? I didn't hear that.
I didn't put that to Councillor Coleman or Councillor.
And I didn't hear it. My iPad was lagging. So can you
What
go over
was the
that?
fourth point, Councillor Smith?
Mayor Thompson, my point was that we go back to status quo, but I've now changed my opinion. I agree with Councillor Ring.
Okay. Well, then I don't need to accept anything because he's withdrawing it.
Yep.
Well, Mayor, I do need again, please, clarification. That's why I raised this issue earlier tonight. If this is voted down, that means your delegations are gone as well. That's why I said the two matters should have been split.
It's only an amendment we're voting on, isn't it, Mayor Thompson, if I could get clarification?
Yeah. It's
No.
Voting on the amendment, if the amendment fails, an extra
point.
point is an amendment.
No,
An extra point is not an amendment, it's part of the recommendation. You've
It
got
is.
to have
I
a
moved it as the recommendation.
Councillor McAndrew is right. I didn't take it as an amendment. She said, I'm moving the recommendation 1.1 and point 2 with point 3.
Exactly right.
If I may, Mayor, just to clarify, regardless of what's voted, the Act provides for you, and in your absence, the Deputy Mayor, to make policy decisions between council meetings. The council resolution really is relevant.
Point of order. I've had my right of reply. The motion needs to be put.
I shall put the recommendation as with point 3 in it. Those in favour?
aye.
Aye.
Those against? Did you vote, Councillor Statham?
Yes, I voted against.
Yep. Councillor Coleman and Councillor Beardsley against.
For, actually, Mr. Mayor. I voted for the motion.
Oh, sorry. I've got that back to front. Councillor Les and all the rest of the councillors against. Sorry. 9.2.1. Let's go regional managing cooperative.
I'll move that way. Thank you. I've got my hand up.
Mayor Thompson, just a question. So don't we go back to the original recommendation,
No.
9.1?
No.
Because it wasn't put as an amendment, it was put as an extra point.
Okay.
Could I have clarification on that from the Code of Meeting Practice? Could you reference where it says you can add an additional point and it's not an amendment?
We do it all the time.
I don't care what we do all the time. I'm asking for clarification. Thank you, Councillor.
Mr. General Manager, can you elaborate on that, a Code of Meeting Practice? Or in his absence, can you?
Mr. Mayor, I can certainly provide comment. It was not an amendment, it was a substantive motion.
Move on to the next part, that resolution's over and done with. 9.2.1, let's go regional market
I'll move that.
cooperative. Moved, Councillor Statham.
Yes, councillor.
You get a seconder first, councillor Goodwin.
Yep.
Councillor Stapleton.
Mayor Thompson, I think it's a very comprehensive report. It's not a large report, but it's very comprehensive. And we have 7 people that have offered to be on this Economic Development Regional Manager Cooperative. I think we have to trust that they're going to be hard workers trying to move Lithgow forward in a positive way when all this drama is behind us. And I think their terms of reference seem, pretty good. And I think it's something that we need to help to replace the tourism committee that we used to have. I agree with this economic development and environment report.
Councillor Goodwin.
Yes, Mayor, I agree this should have been done in the block voting, but it's I agree with it.
Question, Mayor?
Yes. Councillor Coleman.
I support the recommendation. I have no issue with the recommendation. I do have a question. Will the opportunity for these people to meet via Zoom be offered? The Women's Advisory Committee are meeting via Zoom. Can this not be offered to these people as well? I think they need to get to work as soon as possible and communicating as soon as possible.
Any other speakers? Councillor Goodsall.
Yeah, I do. It's very difficult at the moment because half of these people possibly don't even have employment. They're representing places where that have been closed down or shut down, or they've actually even lost their jobs due to COVID. So my question is it just leave it as it is for now, and or when are these people going to be meeting again in the future, and what are the costs associated with it?
Yeah. Any other speakers?
Yeah, Mayor Thompson, if I may.
Yes, Councillor Ring.
I'm not going to support the motion. Look, if we weren't in COVID-19, I would support it. I think the points made by Councillor Goodsall are quite valid. From the tourism conference I went to, what we should be looking at and planning for is post-COVID-19. There's a number of small businesses in our tourism sector. Some of those are going to be struggling at the moment. We need to be looking and planning for the future. That means looking at our tourism strategy, destination marketing plan, changing it. Now's the time to be doing a lot of planning and moving forward. We need to be engaging with the tourism sector to see what struggles they're having, how we can move forward. Marketing is low down on the list. We need to be looking at what's needed to get them back up and running as soon as possible. I'd actually like to see a different sort of committee or the committee changed to look at being reviewing the broader industry. Thank you.
Mayor Thompson, sorry, I might have misrepresented myself there. I fully support the recommendation. I just think the possibility of quickly moving to Zoom, let the committee decide when they want to meet, where they want to meet. Yeah, I support the recommendation and noting the report.
Yeah, look, I just from my point of view, I believe that if you have a look through the people that's on this committee, you're quite right. There's hardly any of these. They're all in the hospitality industry, and the hospitality industry isn't working at the moment. So it makes it very, very awkward for people to be out there, whether they're on Zoom or anything, to be trying to fulfil their obligations when they're not working at all. Anybody else like to speak?
I have the same concern. I'm not opposed to the thrust of what's being put forward. However, I'm of the view it's probably 6 months and maybe 12 months too early now, based on where we're at. And I note that the budget approved for 2019-20 is $20,000. Well, I can't see that being spent in that time, because there's really nothing that no matter how good these people may be, there's nothing they can really achieve. And to pick up your point that some of those businesses are not even operating or won't be operating during this period of time, I'm just wondering whether the matter should be deferred for 6 to 12 months after we see where we're at. I'd be happy, Mayor, to move an amendment that the economic development that the Lithgow Regional Marketing Cooperative just proposal be deferred for 6 months and we revisit it then.
I'm happy to second that. I'm happy to second that.
So we've got an amendment moved by Councillor McAndrew, seconded by Councillor Ring, that this be deferred for 6 months. or until things change, or for 6 months? Do you want to put a time limit on it, or?
Well, I'm easy. I honestly can't see us out of this issue for at least 6 months. So it gives us. There's no reason why that the 7 people.
If the time comes earlier, yeah.
Yeah. If time comes early, and we can certainly revisit it.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak to that? Okay, then I shall put the amendment. Those in favour of the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Those against? Councillor Goodsall, Coleman, and so I declare the amendment 1. Now it becomes a motion. Those in favour of the motion?
Aye.
And those against? Councillor Coleman. I can't see your hand at all, Councillor. Stay. Yeah. Just bring it over to your face a little bit closer. That's better. Yeah, a lot better. Thank you. Councillor Coleman and Statham against. 9.22.
Happy to move.
Move for the
Happy
amendment.
to move.
Move Councillor Smith.
Second.
Happy to second.
Goodsall. Councillor Smith.
This is a very important proposal, and for our community, it's going to support and look after a lot of jobs in the mining industry, in the power industry, and our community as a whole. I think the recommendation is very good, and Angus Place will be the lifeblood for Energy Australia at Mount Piper. We need to support this with all guns blazing and move forward and send a very strong letter of support from our Lithgow City Council to keep our area flourishing with after the transfer from Springvale to Angus Place.
Thanks, Councillor Smith. Councillor Goodsall.
Yeah, Mayor Thompson, I'd like to make an amendment to the recommendation. If I can get a seconder, I'd like to change the words council lodges submission to the Department of Planning, Infrastructure and Environment indicating support to the proposed development instead of.
Very happy to second that, Mayor.
Take out no objection and put in support the proposal.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
Well,
the mover's happy. The mover's happy to accept that. Is there any other commentary?
I haven't finished yet.
Oh, sorry.
I also think it's really, really important to support this extension project for Angus Place to secure the 450 strong workforce until 2053 from Springvale.
Good. So, any other commentary? I shall put that then. Any objections? Carried unanimous. Proposed acquisition by Transport New South Wales.
I'll move that. I'll move that, Councillor Thompson.
Happy to second, and I have some questions.
Righto, Councillor moved. Is Councillor Statham, seconded Councillor Coleman. Councillor Statham.
I think this is a wonderful upgrade on the Scenic Hill road work. The road widening and the better aligned and improved drainage will be fantastic. But the best news there, I think, for local people will be the great news that the intersection at the Lithgow ex-prisoners camp, war camp, will be improved. It's a treacherous intersection. I've been there many times over the years, and it's a lot of elderly people go up there and have a look what's up there, and I think it will be wonderful for them to have a new exit and a new enter, and I feel that it's going to improve that area of Scenic Hill. And I also think it is a very detailed report, and unfortunately some of the actual people that were lessees or owners of that land have since deceased. So I think, you know, to have the permission of council to go ahead and negotiate this piece of land is something that will be very well worthwhile doing.
Thank you, Councillor Statham. Councillor Coleman.
I have a question for Mr. Edgecombe, if he's there. Is this the parcel of land that I brought to your attention in regards to Ross Cottage off Chifley Road?
You there, Mr. Edgecombe?
Yes, I'm here. I don't believe so, but I could take it on notice and provide a definitive answer tomorrow.
Yeah, can you please check that? Because I thought this was the same parcel of land as Ross Cottage off Chipley Road. And one of those residents, I brought that to your attention.
I'll take that on notice and I'll respond tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, and could you also, I have two more questions, Mayor. Mr. Edgecombe, if you could please check then, if this is the case and we move past this tonight, who will be responsible for the upkeep of that access way to those properties? If it's the property that I'm referring to, and then I want to look at can the residents request that the road be named, but I'll wait for your response, Mr. Edgecombe, on that. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Leslie.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to just take up what Councillor Statham said about improving the intersection at the ex-prisoner of war memorial. How does purchasing or how does this particular property halfway up the scenic? It doesn't seem to be any relationship at all. But yet it's in the report. Could I get an answer from the director as how this could possibly affect that intersection?
Mr. Edgecombe.
I've had a bit of a look through I've had a bit of a look at a map. I can confirm with Councillor Coleman that this is the piece of land that houses Ross Cottage, but I'd need to look into the maintenance issue. But with regard to Councillor Leslie's question, that piece of land is considerably large. It actually bounds a lot of Chipley Road all the way north through up past the Scenic Hill area, I believe.
Yes, the land, the major block of land does that, but the particular bit that's under discussion is nowhere near that particular intersection.
Can I add something?
Yeah. Who's that? Oh, Mr. Miller.
The way I understand it, Mr. Mayor, is that the improvement.
Thank you.
Mayor, sorry, can I just ask? Mayor, so Mr. Edgecombe, you've just confirmed that Ross Cottage it affects Ross Cottage?
Yes, it affects the land that Ross Cottage is situated on which council is 1/8 interest as joint tenants. Yes.
Okay. Any other commentary?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. I was going to say while we had Mr. Muir there, I had a question. And on page 12 of the report, it talks about the land being classified community. You'd recall, Mr. Mayor, that we had some of these debates back in the not too far past regarding community and operational land, and effect community land means there's very little that can be reclassified or be done with it unless the classification is changed to operational. I just have a question of Mr. Muir that I'm concerned about that. It seems to be answered in page 12 of the report. However, I would hate to think that this would set any precedents regarding doing something with community land into the future. I'd welcome his comment on it, please.
It does seem to be an anomaly or a mistake in this particular instance. Thus, I can't really see a situation arising where this could be seen to create a precedent.
Thank you.
Carried unanimous. Nine 2.4. That's me.
Yeah, move it.
I'm moving out, and Councillor Ring will take over.
What one are we on?
Golf club.
Are we on 9.2.4? Yeah, 9.2.4. Councillor Owen Golf Club.
From what I heard, move Councillor McAndrew, seconded by Councillor Statham. I might ask Mr. Muir, if he's still online, to just give us a succinct overview, inclusive of the risks related to this issue.
Well, could I speak to it first as a mover, Deputy Mayor?
By all means, Councillor McAndrew.
Look, this has been a difficult issue. like other councils, have received many emails and phone calls over the past week and a half, and I can understand, as it relates to golf course, of frustration from our golfing fraternity in relation to the inconsistency in the rules and conflicting messages, etc. For example, text means that all of our public facilities are to be closed during this crisis. And I make the point, Deputy Mayor, that conflicting and inconsistent messages and rules are not council's fault. In fact, council has nothing to do with it. The rules, the restrictions are set by government. Council, like everybody else in the community, have to abide by those rules. I've read comparisons of other golf courses, and it's a mixed bag of some owned by council in the minority, the majority privately owned. But I make the point that in looking at those and reflecting back on my point about frustration and inconsistency, at the end of the day, we as council is responsible for the Lithgow golf course and cannot be responsible for what other courses may or may not do. In some advice given by Mr. Muir today, asked after questions from myself, it's quite clear if you're a council-owned course, you have to abide by the public health order. And if you do not have an exemption and you're open, you can be in breach. It's as simple as that. I don't think we have any other choice, in my view, than to seek an exemption to the public health order from the government as soon as possible, as the recommendation reflects. I'd like to, Deputy Mayor, if I could, add a second part to the recommendation. I think explain that when I do that. If I could get the second to agree to it. Two, that follows on from the first one, unchanged. Number two, that council provides Lithgow Golf Club Board with a copy of our letter of representation to Minister Toole and encourages them and their members to lobby Minister Toole in support of council's position.
Happy to second that.
I'd already second that.
Well, Councillor Statham, you happy to add that second
Yes,
point?
I am. Yes.
Okay, I think it would put strength to the decision hopefully we're going to take tonight. It hasn't been voted on yet, but it will add to the strength of the submission, the representation to Minister Toole by council. And if the club and their members who have lobbied us rightfully and appropriately, lobby Minister Toole in support of council's position.
Councillor Statham.
Yes, I really believe that it's not a huge golf course. It's a wonderful facility. We have many, many people lobbying us, and I do believe that through Councillor Toole to go to Brad Hazzard, the Minister for Health at the moment, I think that he needs to know the exact facts in terms of the amount of people that go through that golf course. It's not like going to Rose Bay Golf Course where there's hundreds of people on the track at the same time, on the course at the same time. I think it's imperative that we go the extra mile to get this over the line, because there are a lot of people in that age group, particularly between 50 and 75, that love to play golf. It's their exercise, it's their camaraderie, it is their physical and mental health each week. And I have spoken personally to so many people. I didn't realise how many people just rely on their exercise from golf. I do believe it's a social distancing sport that you can social distance from. And, you know, they know how tough it's going to be for them in terms of council owning that course. I have no doubt they will abide by the wishes of the health department regulations. And I think the letter should be given to Minister Toole, but in turn, I think there also should be a letter in with Mr. Toole's letter. The curve is just slowly going the way we want it to go. And I think golf is one of the sports that could be played without any contact. And I think it would be just wonderful to see a happy result and a positive result here.
Councillor, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Smith.
Councillor Smith.
And I'd like to speak as well.
I'll ask you first, Councillor Smith, but I'd like Mr. Muir provide us a succinct overview of the issue, very succinct, and the risk to council. And then I'll ask you to speak, Mr. Councillor Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Look, it's an interesting one. yes, we recognise that we've seen a lot of anomalies and inconsistencies, and we have tried to research as best we can what may be happening in other local government areas who may or may not be in the same position that we're in, relating to the fact that they might own the golf club. We've had some feedback today, but we're still waiting for some further feedback. I suppose in any event, the council has to be comfortable in the decision that it makes for its own property and its own, inverted commas, community facility. The risk under the public health order, if it was found that council was to be in contravention, would be a fine in excess of $50,000. In terms of risk, as administration, we do think that it is advisable to take this extra step to mitigate and hopefully eliminate that risk.
Councillor McAndrew, could you just read out your second point again, just for the staff benefit, please?
Okay, part two.
Thank you.
Slowly, that council provides the Lithgow Golf Club board with a copy of our letter of representation to Minister Toole, and encourage them and their members to lobby Minister Toole in support of council's position.
Thank you, Councillor McAndrew. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Ring. I know there's a lot of the golfing fraternity watching this live stream tonight, and I just want to reassure them, all the councillors want to open this as soon as we can. We're not in the game of closing down sporting facilities. We're not in the game of closing down the tennis courts or anything. We have a duty of care, and as we all know, I'll be the first one to put my hand up to say if we get the right answers over the next couple of days, it'll be a great thing for our community. I just want what Councillor McAndrew has put in play. I want all the golfers that are watching here tonight to ring Mr. Toole's office in support of this and really get behind this, because we know there's social distancing. We know that they'll be very adhesive to and strict to the guidelines that the golf club will implement. It's a very good facility, and the sooner we get it open with the support of the government, it'll be a great thing for our community. Thank you.
Councillor Collins.
Look, if Australia hadn't put in social distancing and mass gathering restrictions, we would be in a worse position than we are today. However, this decision has to be with the state member, and it has to be with the Minister for Health. I actually think Councillor McAndrew's amendment's the most important part of this motion. If Minister Toole acts on this request, then the buck stops with him. It will be his responsibility to open it. It'll also be his responsibility to ensure that our residents who utilise the golf club follow the social distancing rules as well. So I encourage the golf club members to lobby their local member, Mr. Toole, as strongly as they have lobbied us.
Does anyone wish to speak against the motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
You want to speak against it? Thank you, Councillor Leslie.
Well, I wish to speak in a different position than the one that's been going at the moment. The Mayor goes on radio and talks about the golf course being reopened. And I get a stack of emails asking me to support the opening because I'm told in these emails it will be discussed at tonight's meeting. I therefore expected, wrongly, that a recommendation with suitable conditions that the golf course be opened would be put forward. But what do we get? We get a wimpy, do nothing, pass the buck recommendation. I move as an amendment that the whole motion be deleted and replaced with the following: that should Lithgow Golf Club Management Committee decide, after taking appropriate advice on the conditions required, that the golf course be reopened, then Lithgow Council will support that decision. We can't pass the buck on this. We either support the opening or we don't. If you pass the resolution that is currently written, I can guarantee nothing will happen. They'll just sit in an office, in a pigeonhole, whilst they worry about it and think about it, and that golf course will stay closed. We need to take responsibility on this, and I believe that the board of the golf club is perfectly comfortable about the security there, the safety there. Golf is a game where you're on opposite sides of a fairway. Only two people can be playing at a time. It would be no more dangerous than it would be having two people walk down Main Street on opposite sides of the road. Once you start to sort of allow this whole climate just to get out of hand, we're in trouble. We can't pass the buck. I think we go. Let's go for it. You either support it and think it can be done, or you don't. But to try and just weasel out of this particular recommendation by passing it off to the state member, that's cowardly in my view. So I've moved an amendment that should the Lithgow Golf Club Management Committee decide, after taking appropriate advice on the conditions required, that the golf course be reopened, then Lithgow Council will support that decision.
Before I go to second, I'd just like to remind councillors that under the Act, we're required to vote in the best interest of all residents. And if we are found to be in breach by allowing this to go through, the council faces a $55,000 fine, which penalises the entire community. Is there anyone to second the motion, the amendment? I declare the amendment lapsed. We'll move back to the original motion.
I'd like to speak to the item, please.
Councillor Goodsall, thank you.
Look, I understand that the golfing fraternity's frustration. It is an isolated sport, but I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable unless we're following the advice received from the government. If we need an exemption from the health minister to reopen the course, then so be it. We'll just have to be a little bit patient. Council are not being obstructive, but rather covering Lithgow Golf Club and Lithgow City Council from breaching a public health order and a potential really big fine. Council staff are working hard to find a positive resolution, a lawful resolution, and a safe resolution. I think that the only option that we've got, like Councillor McAndrew said, is that we lobby Paul Toole, the residents lobby Paul Toole, and we get that exemption in place just to be safe.
Mr. Mayor, I was, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I got lost voice there. How much of my motion came through?
We had the whole motion came through and there was no seconder. The motion.
Thank you. No seconder.
No seconder. Thank you. Councillor McAndrew, right to reply.
Briefly, Deputy Mayor, I do need to respond to the comments of Councillor Leslie. There's no way in the world this is passing the buck. I don't know whether Councillor Leslie listened to my opening comments. The golf club, the current situation with the Lithgow Golf Club, it's closed as a result of government restrictions, not as a result of anything that council has done. Councils have abided by the public health order. It was quite explicit. Let's have a look at the inconsistencies. As I understand, there's a difference of view between Golf Australia and New South Wales Golf in relation to what should be occurring at golf courses. And you summed up, Deputy Mayor, as well. We have the responsibility
is this Councillor McAndrew's speech in reply?
Point of order, Councillor Leslie.
By the right of reply.
Sorry, is it Councillor McAndrew's speech in reply?
That's his speech in reply.
That's my speak in reply.
Responding
to the comments.
Am I right to go ahead? It's either speech and reply.
Am I right to go ahead while you're interrupted again?
Go ahead, Councillor McAndrew.
Okay, you made a point yourself, Deputy Mayor, that we are responsible to all of our residents and ratepayers. You know, I've got tennis players that aren't happy. I've got football players that aren't happy. I know that people are concerned about the closure of the aquatic centre. We've had to do all those as a result of directions from government in relation to the current crisis we're in. I feel for all of our people, but equally, the restrictions have been put in for good reasons. As I said in my my notice of motion beginning. These are difficult times and we're just going to have to do the best we can. And the only way to deal with this matter is as the recommendation has been put.
I'll put the motion. All those for? Against? Councillor Leslie against, 7-4. Thank you, councillors. I'll get the mayor to return.
Thank you. I'm Beacon, 931. Water and wastewater report.
Mayor, I'd like to move this, seeing I asked for the report to come down.
Thanks, Councillor McAndrew.
Second.
Seconded, Councillor Coleman.
Yep, I have a second. I've got a question.
Very briefly, Mayor.
Yes.
Can I first acknowledge and congratulate Mr. Buckins on the report, and it confirms what I thought. If I've done my figures right, we've got something like $5 million capital to set up the Clarence water transfer system, and 1.3 million ongoing per year since 2001. $1.3 million since that time, maintaining and operating. So it clearly shows that as far as water security is concerned, this council and councils before it have done the right thing in making sure we looked after our community in relation to the provision of water.
Thanks, Councillor McAndrew. Councillor Coleman.
Look, I agree with all the statement that Councillor McAndrew has just said. I do have a question, 2 questions actually, Mayor. Would an update be provided in regards to water security that impacted the town during the recent summer? So, Mr. Buckins, if you could take that on notice, I'd appreciate that. And I have another question. Does Lithgow City Council receive any support from Water New South Wales? That's another question. I'm happy for them to be taken on notice, and Mr. Buckins can get back to me. Or if you can answer me now, that'd be great too.
You there, Mr. Buckins?
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Have you got me?
Yes.
Certainly. In response to the water security issue, there's a number of different ways the state measures water security. DPIEW have some concerns regarding water security in Lithgow because of the anomalies that the Clarence Colliery water transfer system poses, in that they can't determine a secure yield. It's quite a complex issue to go through in a short time frame, and I'm happy to try and provide a report to a later meeting on what that actually means.
That'd be great. Thank
you. In how to apply that. As far as does Water New South Wales provide any support, Water New South Wales operates the Fish River water supply system, and that certainly does support our operations in that when we have issues with supply from Clarence or from the Oakey Park Water Treatment Plant, they do supplement our supply. As far as any technical support or likewise, there's not really too much that they provide other than water through the Fish River water supply scheme.
Right, thank you.
Any other commentary? I shall put that then. Those in favour? Carried unanimous. And financial assets reports has already been dealt with. Financial assistance.
Can I move this, please?
Happy to second.
Move Councillor Coleman, seconded Councillor Statham. Councillor Coleman.
Look, I generally would like to support this. I think it's really important that we provide financial assistance to both Link and especially the cleaning of the Children's Crisis Centre. I mean, if you're at risk of family violence during the current pandemic, being at home may not be the safest place for you. So I think that's really important. I mean, around Australia, police services and family violence support lines are reporting a higher than usual number of cases relating to alleged domestic violence offences. So I think that it's really important that we provide that assistance to the Women and Children's Crisis Centre, and also to Link. They do a wonderful job in providing to our vulnerable members of the community, and a lot of their volunteers are quite elderly and have been asked to self-isolate. So I think that's really important to note.
To put in their projects for submissions. However, this time with COVID-19 and no actual meetings taking place, I contacted several organisations and they were unable to have monthly meetings. So I think the council has done very well to distribute the money out to well-known causes and causes that perhaps now have got a little bit more money than what they would have done if they had more competition. So I think it's worked out quite well.
Thank you. Any other commentary? Okay, I shall put that then. Those in favour?
Mayor Thompson.
Sorry, Councillor Goodsall.
Yeah, look, the $2,000 will enable Link to employ someone to provide food from the Second Bite program to around 78 families a week over a 6-week period. That's something like 468 meals. This is normally the work of their fabulous volunteers, and of course at the moment they can't support Link due to COVID-19. The other $1,000 that's going to Link will go to resources for the group homes, and this is also immensely valuable to those residents at those group homes that are self-isolating because of the COVID-19 restrictions. I'm on the board of Link as a council representative, and they're very, very grateful.
Thank you very much, Councillor Goodsall. Any other commentary? I shall put that then. Those in favour? Carried unanimous. Farmers Creek Shared Pathway, Burton Street.
I'd like to move it with an amendment, please, Mayor Thompson.
I'll hear the amendment, see if I second it, Mayor.
What's the, do you want to change the recommendation?
Options and costings can be discussed and more detailed report can be brought back to council.
Have I got a seconder?
Mayor, I'd be happy to second that on the basis that that part of that is revisiting the complete Farmers Creek master plan.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yep. Okay. Move Councillor Ring, second Councillor McAndrew with. Did you get that down?
That the item is referred back to the operations committee so that the options and costs can be discussed in more detail, and the refer back to the operational plan
for the farmers. Ask the farmers. We need to revisit.
Farmers revisit the Farmers Creek operational plan.
Master plan.
Master plan.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I have an amendment when I can.
Yeah, just second Councillor McAndrew. Yeah, the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That we delete the motion that's been moved by Councillor McAndrew and replace it with the council proceed with the Farmers Creek pathway generally, but the shared pedestrian cycle pathway in Burton Street be omitted.
We've got a second.
Councillor Thompson, we need to deal with the first amendment, which is the one that I put up and seconded by Councillor McAndrew.
Well, yours was a recommendation, really, Councillor Ring. You moved a recommendation, and because you changed the recommendation, so it's not an amendment.
Yeah,
and Councillor seconded. So I have an amendment now from Councillor Leslie and seconded by Councillor Coleman. You want to speak to that, Councillor Leslie?
Yes, I think the Farmers Creek pathway.
I'd like
generally,
to speak, thank you.
Just hang on, Councillor Statham. I've got a mover of an amendment and then a seconder to that amendment, and then you can speak. Councillor Leslie.
Thank you. This Farmers Creek pathway generally has been a great idea. It's been put to council before. It's been adopted by council. It's a great initiative in linking the whole of the valley from the Lithgow Visitors Information Centre and hopefully all the way through to the State Mine Museum, with offshoots to S Bank House, and it's a wonderful scheme. Now, just because Burton Street is a difficult position doesn't mean that we should revisit the
Sorry,
entire.
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
Sorry, what? We shouldn't revisit the entire pathway and scheme itself. It's just a simple matter of fixing Burton Street, not putting the shared pathway in Burton Street, allowing any cyclist or pedestrian who comes across the bridge off the pathway from the northern side of Farmers Creek to the southern side of Farmers Creek and into Burton Street, then just does so as any normal citizen or any normal bike rider would do. They just go down Burton Street in a normal way without the shared pathway, and then of course they can continue on with the rest of the pathway. It's a wonderful process of this rehabilitation of Farmers Creek with lots of potential in the future to clean the creek and to revegetate it and rehabilitate the whole works. I think we need to keep it. A small problem in Burton Street can easily be solved. We just leave out that particular shared pathway and move on.
Councillor Farmer.
Look, I really love Farmers Creek shared pathway, like this, the Farmers Creek plan. I think it's a great plan. I think we need to continue with it as much as a way of going through, but then we also look at fixing up Burton Street, which is causing a lot of residents some distress. I think this is a good compromise, this amendment. And can I just mention, Mayor, that I think Councillor Statham has left the meeting. Are we chasing that up?
Yeah.
Because we need to suspend if that's the case.
Well, we'll have to recess until such time that she does come back in.
She has come back in, because I note that Councillor
Oh, she's back there.
left last time. And
Are you there, Councillor Statham?
Muted.
You must have muted.
Yeah.
Councillor Statham, have you muted? Have you hit your mute button on your?
She's muted, if you look at the list.
Oh, Jesus.
she's come back. She's just come back in, but her microphone's.
Councillor Statham, if you can hear me, can you touch your microphone so that it unmutes?
Mayor, can we just have you speaking when you're dealing with this, when people are coming in and out, please?
Thank you. Can you fix that? Councillor Statham, could you hit your mute button, please? Bear with me, councillors, until we try to get Councillor Statham back online.
Mayor, can we have 5 minutes to go to the bathroom?
Oh, yes, I can't. Just go. I think by the time we get back, Councillor Statham might be there.
Great, thank you. Please.
The meeting is still being broadcast.
Yeah.
We have you on vision, Councillor Statham, but you are on mute at the moment.
Press mute.
Press your microphone button, Councillor Statham.
Can we use it?
No, I tried.
Yeah, she's back now.
Seems to be.
There you go. You there, Councillor Statham? No. It's got the little cross on the bottom there, see where it says Marie Statham.
This is a nightmare.
Hear you. Forward to
Right. Yeah.
you want to ring it?
Yeah, if you can bring it, I'll take the call.
Hi Marie, I've just put Ellie on for you.
Hi, Marie. We might get you to try the phone to ring in.
Councillors, while you're there, while we're trying to wait for the Councillor Statham to come back, we have a meeting on Thursday evening to select
You're still webcasting.
a general manager. That's fine. But we have a meeting on Thursday night to select a new general manager. If we get tied up, and we'll most probably have to have an extraordinary meeting on the following Monday to say who we've selected, an extraordinary meeting. If we don't get through the agenda tonight, we'll if it's all right with councillors, we'll have that extraordinary meeting and finish the agenda on that Monday night.
Great idea, Mayor. I fully
Happy to
support
do that as long as there's no happy to do that, Mayor, as long as there's no added agenda items.
Yeah, no other
agree.
agenda items. Yes, no added agenda items.
Look, I've just got a problem with even discussing it or putting our hands up at the moment while there's people missing from the meeting.
Yeah, that's all right. I will confer with Councillor Statham.
I think Councillor Leslie's left the meeting as well.
No, I'm here.
And I just note, Mayor, that the time is 8:25.
Yes, exactly.
5 minutes to go.
I do, can we check? Check the word.
Yeah, Councillor Leslie. Yeah. You're there, Councillor Leslie, aren't you? Oh, he's not there now, are they? He's up there. I can't do that.
Okay. Is that Alex? If she can tell you.
Pauline uses two. Who's uses two?
That's great.
Hey.
Forward to screen. Forward to Andy.
I see.
trying, well, Marie reconnect. Her preference is to video call. She doesn't want to. So,
Councillor Leslie.
Let's come back.
Alex, John.
I'm back, if that's a help.
Yeah, no, we see you there, councillor.
Thank you. Good.
Is Marie back, Mayor?
No, we're waiting. We're waiting.
She looks like she's halfway through.
Looks like she's there now.
Where?
Down the bottom, very steady. Ellie's trying to talk her through it at the moment.
Oh, we're back.
Yeah, she's back.
Good. Mute on. Uh-oh. Low bandwidth. What triangle was that?
She's still got the mute button on.
No, she doesn't. It's not perfect.
Are you there, Marie? I can't hear her.
Councillor Stephen, you need to unmute.
It's still showing mute on that.
Yeah.
Mayor, is this still being webcast?
Yeah.
Yes.
Still being webcast?
Yes.
Are you there, Councillor Statham?
Oh, I can hear you, but I can't. I can hear you now quite clearly. It's just got stop my video, switch camera, chat with everyone.
Switch camera.
Switch camera.
There you go.
There you go. You right now?
Righto, let's go.
Okay. Righto.
So where were we up to? Sorry.
We were up to Councillor Leslie has put in an amendment. and Councillor Coleman speaking to it. Did you hear the amendment, Councillor Statham?
No, I didn't.
The amendment was.
Roughly translated, that the Farmers Creek Pathway project be carried out as the original plan specified and the Burton Street path be removed.
Be removed. Did you get that, Councillor Statham?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, and I would like to speak.
Yeah. Have you finished, Councillor Coleman? Yes. You're muted, Councillor Coleman, now. Righto,
Yes.
Councillor Statham.
No, Mayor.
Okay.
No, point of order, Mayor. We've got a mover and a second of the original recommendation that haven't even spoke yet. Councillor Ring moved the recommendation, I seconded it, and we haven't even spoke yet.
Sorry, you're right. Councillor Ring.
So we're going back to the original recommendation, are we?
Yeah, yes.
To what I moved.
And then the amendment will go after that, after you speak.
Are we voting on the first recommendation or the amendment?
No. We're getting you to speak to the first recommendation. Sorry.
Okay. Look, there are a number of concerns, not just the footpath. There's also concerns around the bridge, the flooding issue, and I really don't see a difference with the footpath there or not there. I think we need to just take a breather. There's no rush. The money's got to be spent in the next financial year, not this year, which is my understanding. Happy to be corrected by Mr. Edgecombe. I think we can take a breather and just look at the options and ensure that we're getting it right. We've been given grant money. We don't want to waste it. We want to get the best possible outcome. Thank you.
Councillor McAndrew.
Yeah, Mayor, I agree with that. We've got to go back to the source. We have to go back to the original Farmers Creek Master Plan. We need to relook at that. My memory serves me well. The Farmers Creek Master Plan was about cleaning up Farmers Creek. And the option of a cycleway and walkway was fantastic. But from my view, and the reason I supported it strongly back when it was first put, was that we get the chance of cleaning up Farmers Creek. What I'm concerned about, I don't support the cycle walkway along Burton Street. In fact, I'm concerned about the cycle walkway deviating from the Farmers Creek path or the Farmers Creek line that we're currently pursuing. If we start to go down streets, then what happens to what is clearly a problem with Farmers Creek near the Burton Street area? We've got to, in my view, follow what the master plan said, and we continue to upgrade and do work on Farmers Creek. And really, if we can fit the walkway or the cycleway in as part of that, that's great. But my emphasis has always been on cleaning up and doing what we've already done on other parts of the Farmers Creek and making it a decent place to look at, clean up, sort it out completely. I'm concerned deviating from the Farmers Creek path then doesn't achieve what, in my view, the master plan was setting out to do. So I agree with the recommendation. We need to take a breather and have a real good look and revisit the detail of the Farmers Creek master plan. There's no need to rush it.
Mayor, Councillor Smith.
Yep.
I've been out, as many of you councillors have, and I went to the on-site visit with the residents of Burton Street. I remember back at a couple of meetings ago, Councillor Leslie said a very good thing. We need to do this, but we need to do it right. You know, the residents of Burton Street clearly don't want a cycle path through their street. As Councillor Statham will back me up here, as will Councillor Goodsell and Goodwin, and then you, Mayor, and Councillor McAndrew. The residents don't want this. I believe we need to clean Farmers Creek up around the Burton Street area, and I'm backing up Councillor Ring and Councillor McAndrew there, and revisit the master plan. And if at the end of the day we decide to divert from Burton Street totally, I'm happy with that, and we go somewhere else or whatever we do. But we don't need to rush into this. There's a couple of good options on the table here. We go back to the master plan. We've got the master plan as far as Tank Street, I believe. But from there on, we need to clean Farmers Creek. It's not a good site, as a lot of the councillors will tell you, at the end of Burton Street. Farmers Creek, it needs cleaning up that creek desperately. We need to take our time, take a breath, like Councillor Ring said, review the master plan. We've got the money to spend, but let's do it right and look after the residents that we represent.
I'd like to speak, Mayor Thompson.
Yep. Councillor Goodsall.
Look, I don't think it, I think it should be deferred and we need to go back a couple of steps. But I think the report should come back with all the scenarios and all the costings, not just to the operations committee. I think it should come back for all councillors to consider.
Yep.
I'm not sure if Councillor Ring or anyone else would support changing that recommendation so it comes back to all councillors, not just operations. Many residents along Burton Street have lost a significant part of their backyard over time due to the ever-changing direction of Farmers Creek. The ferocity and magnitude of the latest storm after the fires has demonstrated that. A resident who backs directly onto to the creek opposite Burton Street, he's got about 2 metres before his back fence collapses into the river. And that is just damage suffered in the first big downpour we had after the fires. I'd like to see us a focus on the maintenance and improvement of the actual Farmers Creek before any consideration of the shared cycleway through that area. The ongoing maintenance of Farmers Creek will be costly to council, and the funds that are provided for the shared pathway are for the construction of the pathway only.
Are you asking a question there, are you?
I was asking if the Councillor Ring would consider that the report come back to all councillors, not just to the operations committee.
If I may, Mayor Thompson, my intent is for it to be discussed in the operations committee.
It would then have
so
to
it can be worked. We can workshop it in the operations committee, and the report would come back to council. The operations committee wouldn't be making a decision; we'd just be having input. Fresh eyes may give a different perspective to what the staff have. That's all.
Yeah. Yes, I think some various models could come back to all councillors read the master plan of Farmers Creek. Councillor Statham. Councillor Statham. Councillor Statham. I think she's.
Mayor, I think her internet's lagging.
Are you there, Councillor Statham? It's very awkward, councillors, to try and conduct a meeting under these circumstances. I've got to say it's nearly impossible because last time we had a meeting, we lost Councillor Goodsall. Tonight we've lost Councillor Statham, and it's very frustrating.
And the time's winding down, Mayor. It's nearly 8:45.
Are you there, Councillor Statham? No. Are you there, Councillor Statham? Yeah, she got a hand up.
Me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes, I did call for the meeting on site. I'm speaking.
Yep, we can hear you.
It is.
Can hear you.
Okay. I am. I definitely am. Anyway, very quickly, can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes.
She's lagging. All right, what we can do, I can't do anything else but adjourn the meeting, can I?
Can we ask her the phone in?
Mayor Thompson, can she call in?
Yeah, she doesn't want to.
She may not have a choice. And if she calls in at least for this item, then we could finish this item.
She's left the meeting again. She's left the meeting again.
Yeah.
We need to at least finish this item.
Can we get her on the phone?
We're going to try,
Thank you.
at least to deal with this.
Yeah,
Because we're running it.
You might want to actually calling again.
Is Councillor Leslie still online? Because all I get is a swirling thing around him.
Yeah, we can see him.
We can see him. You there, Councillor Leslie? Okay.
No, it's moving.
I can see him, but
On as well.
you there, Councillor Leslie?
He's back.
The number you have called is not compatible with your.
Mayor, you may have no option but to cancel the meeting, suspend the meeting. We're now.
I don't think I've had any option, councillors.
Well, we've now been 20 minutes trying to deal with this one item.
Hello.
Goodness, this is hopeless. I don't know what to do.
Well, Councillor Statham, you're on teleconference at the moment. If we can possibly get rid of this item, and then we'll adjourn the meeting until and carry on with the next items Monday.
Yes, I want to speak about this item, definitely.
Yes, yeah, well, go ahead.
I have seen, as a lot of other councillors have, visiting the site. It's very rare that you would go down and see every single person that lives in that area, 16 residents, 16 homes and many residents. I thought it would be 50-50 what they wanted, but it just was so surprising to see that there was not one resident in favour of this position, proposal. So that is one worrying. I mean, I would be happy for it to be adjourned and more negotiations done, because I realise the council staff has done a lot of work in this. But on the other end, not one of these people, they're afraid of the water damage that's going to come with the flooding.
Councillors, I'm going to have to, I can't see Councillor Leslie anymore. Are you there, Councillor Leslie?
That as well, Mayor, it looks like.
Yeah, he's dropped out.
Look, councillors, I'm going to have to adjourn the meeting. I can't do anything else.
Yeah, I think that's the wise choice, Mayor.
Because I need all.
Happy to move that way, Mayor.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to second it.
Thank you, Councillor.
I don't think we've got a choice.
All in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. So, meeting adjourned at 9:48. 8:48, I'm sorry. Thank you, councillors, and I'm sorry for the, but we needed to be better, or we need to meet face to face.
So what happens, Mayor Thompson, if we were to use the city ballroom and have like 5 metre distancing? What do that?
You have to be able to live stream.
Live stream.